So we've talked about breakups. We've talked about reconciling. We've talked about no contact ad nauseum. And I'd like to talk about something that we don't touch on nearly as much, and that's dating. Not your ex, dating someone new. Now, dating in 2021, I think we can all agree, is not great. Things certainly aren't like they used to be. So what happened? Why does dating suck? I'd like to start with a walk down memory lane, back in high school, perhaps. So you wake up at 7, maybe 8 in the morning and groggily drudge to first period calculus with Mr. Leary, who of course has the personality of a boiled egg. And I look to my right and see a pretty young woman who I would love to ask out on a date. But of course I am scared. And yet, the knowledge that I'm going to see her tomorrow, and the next day, etc., is comforting to the point where I can slowly build a rapport with this person. Maybe friendship, maybe something more, or maybe friendship into something more. But the point is, I know that I'm, over time, going to get to know this person better. And eventually, look what happens. We're dating, we're having fun, and we're seeing each other regularly. High school used to be something I dread going to, and now it's something I'm excited about because I'm going to see her, and that's going to be exciting. And then people will gossip and talk. It's almost like, no, it is. We're in a community. There are different characters in our story. There's different events and situations and school plays and fire drills. There is variety. There is betrayal. It is almost Shakespearean in a way. Now freeze frame, and let's come back to modern day. I am, let's say, 26 years old. I groggily get up and boot up Tinder or Bumble or the most recent dating app based on how I look and not building a rapport with the person, or whatever rapport building that I might do happens over a relatively short period of time. Whereas in high school, that might happen over weeks, months, because you know you're going to see the person. On dating apps, might happen over a day, maybe a week. And then things get escalated into this casual, committed but not committed. We are together, but we're not together. We can see other people, but we shouldn't really talk about it because it might hurt the other person's feelings. This jumble of undefined dating and self-esteem issues and pictures that are meant to get as many clicks as possible and judging people not for who they are but for what they look like. And we wonder why dating sucks. So, if I'm boiling this down, it's social media. Social media is 100% the problem. That's not saying that social media doesn't bring a lot of good things into our life and hasn't innovated many of the ways that we live. And I'm not here to completely say that social media is the devil. I think that it's done more bad than good as it relates to dating, and that's what this channel is about, dating, breakups, etc. So dating sucks because social media has connected us and yet estranged us. We are more connected and yet somehow more lonely than ever. It's more about a fear of missing out than it is about actually participating. The problem is that many things about how our culture and our technology has developed is that it really exists on a scale of instant gratification. I post a picture and minutes later, I get tons of likes and clicks and comments. And on dating apps, I never really have to risk rejection. The app has already told me that the other person likes me enough to want to see where things might go. I never need to learn how to extrovert and talk to people and put myself in situations that might be uncomfortable. But the problem with that is that discomfort is the fertilizer for growth. Not every situation that we involve ourselves in are we supposed to have complete mastery immediately, because that defeats the purpose of growth. Now, when you're asking someone out at university or in high school, you are risking rejection, the possibility that they say no and you feel bad about yourself, but you strengthen the muscle. Do you know what I mean? you slowly get better at handling rejection, thus it bugs you less and you think less of it. But these days, we avoid it at all costs. We get ourselves on tons of dating apps, and we always know that the other person likes us, and then are somehow surprised when they're also dating 100 other people because they feel the exact same way that we do. We want everything that benefits us and nothing that puts us out of our comfort zone. And social media contributes to that, because dating apps would not exist if social media did not exist. And they both feed off of the same idea that I can get whatever I want, in this case clicks, likes, engagement, etc., without actually ever risking discomfort, unhappiness, etc. And we're ignoring all of the bad things it's doing behind the scenes, like fear of missing out. And I'd really like to focus on how after university or high school or whatever, we lose that sense of community. The people that we see every day are no longer there, and now we'll have to supplement it in things like work. Now, turn to modern day 2021, COVID-19 pandemic. We're not even doing that now. It's all online. So many people who are still working from home are suffering emotionally because their community has been cut off from them. And at work, there's a sense of professionalism that you have to carry. In high school and university, maybe there's professionalism, but not nearly as much. And there are parties, there's recreation, there's things to do. So we've been given this structure that we've been expected to follow for months to years, and then it is one day removed and you are tossed into the real world with a briefcase and someone says, "Good luck, kid, I believe in you." But you haven't really been prepared for these things. Is it any wonder that we would begin to withdraw into our shell and turn to things like social media for a sense of community and connection? And as we become ever more introverted, we become scared of extroverting. As we stop working out our muscles of meeting new people and feeling uncomfortable so that we can grow and facing the possibility of rejection, we turn more into things like dating apps, social media, etc. And instant gratification is all around us. And so, is it any wonder that if I can use this big, wonderful dating app that never lets me know when I've been rejected and only tells me when people like me, well, I never need to risk rejection. And the past couple of years of my life have been based around crawling ever more inwards into that shell because my entire community has been ripped away from me. And now some people will say, well, hold on, if that is true and we are taken away from high school or college, whatever, wouldn't we just seek a new community? And certainly some people do that. But the difference is that high school and probably college was forced on you. You didn't have a choice. You had to go. And now you're an adult. And the cool thing about being an adult is you don't have to do anything. But there's going to be a consequence for that too. Now, I do have an audience that is older, and when I say older, I'm talking outside of the 20s and 30s. And for them, this video might strike them as slightly less relevant because they've been out of college for a long time, or high school, whatever the case may be. And just because you are far removed doesn't mean you were not affected much the same way. It's important to find community. It's important to grow outside of ourselves and outside of our comfort zone and sacrifice your old comfort zone for a new one. It's important because otherwise we're going to continually turn inwards, realizing that human beings tend to be lazier by nature. Now, that's not me saying that we have to be that way. In fact, I push against being lazy. But that is to say, back in the day, what do you think we did? We hunted for food, we ate, we sat around in the sun, we procreated, then we did it again. And again, and again. And one day we found food that helped our brains grow bigger and we evolved and became better. And then we sort of ended up here with iPhones and Tinder, etc. So without me rambling much further, I would just like to say this. If you want the dating game to change, you must change. Resist the temptation for instant gratification. Go out. Try something new because you want to do it. Because just by showing up, you skyrocket the chance of meeting someone that you might like to take on a date. Risk that rejection. What's the worst they're going to do? Is they'll tell you, sorry, I'm not interested. And you'll feel down for an hour, maybe a day, and then you'll get over it. And sure, might it be weird if you see that person again? It might. But what's the big deal in the grand scheme of things? You've made it to the point where you're listening to this video, so you're at least, and this is just a guess, but 18 to maybe 50, maybe 60. And if that's the case, you've made it this far and you've survived a couple of rejections. Being told no or I'm not interested can feel like the end of the world for about a day, maybe a week if it's a bad case. But that's the beautiful thing about it. It gets better and it gets easier rapidly. And if you do it again, it hurts less and less and less to the point where you just kind of shrug and say, not a big deal. So I'm not saying you have to completely remove yourself from dating apps, but I would ask you not to use them as the main source of dating, rather as a supplement. Because the big thing about dating is that it correlates to how you think you are. If you are confident and you believe in yourself and love yourself, you're going to have a better time dating. And the opposite is also true. So what I would encourage everybody to think about today is just consider something you want to do, a class you want to take, a place you want to go, and show up and see what happens. Say yes to life. Open yourself up to new opportunities. And yeah, it's going to be scary. So do it scared. That's all I had for today. If you enjoyed this video, I'd be eternally grateful if you'd subscribe and hit like. Tell me how I did. And if you want to work with me, just go to thelovechat.net/coaching, where I offer one-on-one coaching in 30 or 60 minutes. But maybe you just need regular therapy to help you through this process. Then just check out BetterHelp, that's HELP.com/Rory, where you get a 10% discount. Let me know your thoughts on this video. I'd love to engage with the community and see if we can together figure out an easier way to get through this process. Until next time.